So what's going on? I mean, are we really just, 8-9 days away from some partial government shutdown? Mark Alford is joining us, of course, our Missouri Congressman, right here in our backyard on KCMO Talk Radio, 710 AM and 103.7 FM. And if you didn't know, Mark is now several weeks in to doing a radio show here on KCMO Talk Radio. Mark Alford's America airs on Saturdays at 1 p.m. and then again on Sunday mornings at 8:30. So it's always good to have him on the show. Mark, how are you feeling about doing some media again? Is it like riding a bike?
Well, I love it. I've talked to people my entire life. I remember even in elementary school, I carried a little binder around with me and would write stories and interview people. And I love hearing people's stories and telling those stories. And that's what I promised to do on the campaign trail, to take the media experience that I've, honed over 35 years in the business and collect the stories, listen to people in our district and tell their stories, not just in Washington, but in the national media, where I think the 4th Congressional District and really flyover country in general, we can get the respect that we so need in America, to where our voices are truly heard. And that's what we've been doing. This show is incredible. I appreciate the opportunity to do it. It's a very upbeat, patriotic show trying to restore patriotism and hope in our country. And we're interviewing people from all walks of life in D.C., especially different congressmen and women, not just Republicans, but Democrats. Jonathan Jackson, the son of Jesse Jackson, we had him in our office and did an interview with him. And it's just interesting hearing different people's perspective and some things that we can work together on to make America great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you do not have to worry about any woke overlords censoring you here at KCMO, like you may have had at any other previous stop. So you are free reign, and you're right, though. You're talking across the aisle, which is great.
Well, we don't get a lot. There's a lot of yelling in America, and I think we need to get back to a place of listening, reflecting, and responding. I learned that in marriage counseling, by the way. And we've got, in fact, I told Steve Scalise a couple of weeks ago, we need a marriage counselor in our conference.
Yes.
I go into these conference meetings and I'm like, man, we could use it, because I don't think we're starting to now. I think, we had a 2.5 hour long conference meeting the other day trying to figure out how are we going to get this continuing resolution passed. There are some in our conference who are just recalcitrant. They don't want it passed for any reason. And I think the continuing resolution that we have now is a great thing for America. It reduces spending. It's not really a continuing resolution. It is a new resolution of spending that gets us a 30-day grace period so we can work on the defense authorizations, these appropriation bills that are vital for our defense, vital for our homeland security, and vital for our military. But this CR package, this continuing resolution, as they call it, reduces spending by 8%. It includes the Secure Border Act, which we already passed earlier this year, but this kind of cements it and sends it over to the Senate to get their attention once again. And the situation at the border, the crisis that this administration refuses to call it, it is crippling America. We had 10,000 illegal aliens enter this week. That is unsustainable, and we're starting to feel the impacts in our 4th Congressional District.
Mark Alford.
These illegal aliens are not going to stay in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, they're not. You're absolutely right. So 2 really good points there. I want to go back to where we're at when it comes to this potential shutdown. It seems like it's 5 Republicans, actually, who are kind of driving this thing. And it's not the Freedom Caucus versus anybody else. Most people understand that you guys have a very slim majority in the House. Democrats run the Senate. Joe Biden's in the White House. Being realistic is oftentimes a good thing in life, something else that I'm sure you can pick up in marriage counseling. So what is the reality here? I mean, are these people understanding the reality of the moment and not playing with political fire here potentially?
Well, I think they do. One of them is a good friend of mine. We're on armed services together, and he's a great businessman and a veteran, did some special ops, Eastern Florida, but his point that he is trying to make is this is not the way Washington should operate, and I agree with him. I to a certain degree. Why do we wait? Why does this body wait? Why does Washington wait to the very last minute to get something done? We knew these appropriation bills were coming up, and there was a deadline. We should have gotten all this done before we went home and worked in our districts for the entire month of August. I was there for 6 weeks doing our town hall tours. We did 12 stops. We're doing the fentanyl forums there. We knew this was coming. Why is it that Washington waits to the very last minute to get anything done, and then we're voting out of fear or ignorance or a combination of both? And I don't want to operate that way. But I'm not willing to shut down the government. I want to give 30 days for us to be able to work on this, and let's try to move the ball forward. At least we're not going to wait like Nancy Pelosi did to right before Christmas load up an omnibus bill, and no one has a chance to read anything. With every bill that we have before us now, Kevin McCarthy it's set in our conference rules now. We have 72 hours to read to read the bill. And Nancy Pelosi didn't give that opportunity to anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with, and you do too, in terms of the way that business gets done there. But the way to fix it, it seems like on a broad level, is going to be winning elections next year and then going to town after that. No?
Well, that's the exact. You're spot on, Pete. This 5-seat majority is not working. I think it gives too few people too much power in our conference. Mm-hmm. We vote on things as a conference. How we vote in that conference should be the way we vote on the floor, at least to vote for the rule. We have people right now, and people, this is a little wonky, but before any bill goes to the House floor, it has to go through the Rules Committee. And in that Rules Committee, they decide how many amendments are going to be allowed onto the bill, how much time is going to be given debate. That rules package has to come first onto the floor, and once that is passed, then the bill can come to the floor. It is very unusual for members of the ruling party, the majority party, like the Republicans in this case, to vote against the rule, and yet we have members doing that to try to make a point, to not even allow the bill on the floor. Again, they're trying to make a point, but I think it's stymieing us from making any forward progress.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the border there, Mark. It's not secure. There is no control, and the administration has done nothing to try to get control. And we've seen the videos here as of late. It seems like it's predominantly Venezuelans who are right now coming in across the Texas border. What has the conversation been there in D.C. on what, if anything, can be done to pressure this administration to do its job?
Well, it's very difficult to do that. Mayorkas has been before how many committees testifying and lying through his teeth. He won't even admit there's a crisis. And now, Pete, to make matters worse, yesterday the White House, in a concerted effort, is starting to try to blame Republicans for the border crisis. Republicans don't want illegal aliens. Come in the right way into America and be part of the fabric of America, but do it the right way. The Democrats, even before Biden got into office, with a wink and a nod, he has started welcoming people into our country illegally. And then he puts Kamala in charge of the border. She's supposedly the border czar or czarina, and she goes down like one time to try to fix Central American countries or figure out what the problem is, and then they just basically open the border. Texas Governor Greg Abbott puts up a concertina wire to keep people from coming in, getting to the banks of Texas. The Border Patrol's out there taking it down, and so the asylum system is a whole nother screw up that we've got going on right now. People are claiming asylum because they want a better economic future for their family. Well, that's not a legitimate asylum claim, and yet they'll let these people in, and they can stay like 10 years before their asylum claim is even heard, and 80% of them when they do go through the process, are found to be not having a legitimate claim and are sent back to their country eventually. But it's just a broken system. To blame it on the Republicans is wrong. And now you're seeing Democrat cities like New York City, Chicago, that are these sanctuary cities, really being forced to take care, feed, clothe, give transportation, and put these kids in school. That's affecting everyone in these communities. And even Democrats now are fed up.
Yeah.
And so I think it's not just going to be a campaign point in 24. It's going to be a boiling point for America.
I agree, and you're right. The blue city leaders are starting to freak out and make their voices heard, and I hope they continue to do that because they might be the best bet to get this thing to, somewhat close at this point. I don't even know what the outcome is going to be, but it's not pretty. Mark Alford, Mark Alford's America, airing on KCMO, 1 o'clock tomorrow, 8:30 on Sunday, 4th Congressional District in Missouri, of course, and his show this weekend includes Keith Self, 3rd District of Texas. Looks like a suburb of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So looking forward to the show this weekend. Mark, thanks as always for the time.
Thank you so much. And then next week we have Ashley Henson on the show. We've already recorded that. She is a former morning news anchor from Iowa. So it's a very interesting conversation about our two paths and how we got to D.C.
Oh, that's going to be good stuff. All right. So 2 former journalists now in Congress. I love that, on bordering states. That's going to be great, Mark. Always appreciate you.
Pete, thank you so much. God bless you, and we'll get back to work for the American people.
You bet. Great stuff there with Mark Alford. Always good to have him on KCMO Talk Radio.